When I moved from Spain to the Netherlands 11 years ago, I knew living in a new country in my 30s would shape me. But if my 30-year-old self could see my 41-year-old self now, he would probably be quite surprised at the habits I've developed. Some are practical, some are cultural, and a few even transformed my personality. Today, I will share the 5 Dutch habits I've picked up, and maybe you will recognize them too. Here is what's coming up: becoming more rational, eating only one warm meal a day, expecting direct communication, saving and investing, and practicing niksen, the Dutch art of doing nothing. Alright, so let's start with the first one. Back in Spain, I was operating mostly by following my heart. If something felt right, I would just do it. No overthinking, just passion and a little bit of impulse. But Dutch culture is very pragmatic and structured. Here, people weigh their options, make lists, and really think things through. At the same time, I was also emotionally unstable. I still remember when I started my MBA here in the Netherlands, one of the critiques I gave myself was exactly that. I needed to become more stable, more balanced. Fast forward 10 plus years, and I can honestly say I've achieved that. I don't experience those emotional ups and downs anymore. I'm much more steady, mature in a way, and rational in the way I operate today. Now, I can't say for sure if this change came from the Dutch environment or simply from age, but either way, it happened while I was living here. And that's why I count it as a very Dutch habit I've developed. In Spain, the main meal of the day was always lunch. During my work break, I would go for the menú del día, which usually meant a full 3 course meal. Dinner was later, often with friends, and of course, it was also warm and filling. But in the Netherlands, things are very different. Lunch is usually just a sandwich or something very light, and dinner, which happens much earlier, is the only warm meal of the day. Honestly, I've grown to like that routine. I still remember my very first lunch in a Dutch company canteen. I was introduced to the famous plain sandwich and a glass of carne milk. That was a shock. My first year here, with these lighter lunches, sometimes it felt like just a second breakfast. Combined with lots of biking, I actually lost a lot of weight. Do I miss the menú del día in Spain and the affordability of having breakfast outside? Definitely yes. But at the same time, I really enjoy my current diet here in the Netherlands, and especially those early dinners at home. Okay, so Dutch directness was a real shock at first. In Spain, we tend to be more indirect, sometimes even careful to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Here, people just say what they mean, no sugarcoating, no drama. Fast forward to now, I actually expect people to be direct. I've kind of lost the ability to read between the lines. At work, for example, when I'm in meetings with colleagues from the UK, I sometimes don't realize they're implying something. Because I take the words literally, it just doesn't register with me that they might mean something different than what they're saying. The same thing happened recently with my mom when she came to visit. There were so many moments where I found myself asking, do you mean you don't want us to travel? Do you mean you're cold? Do you mean something else? And I kept thinking, why not just say it? Life would be so much easier. Alright, so in Spain, I used to live paycheck to paycheck. Saving wasn't really on my radar. Partly because I wasn't earning much to begin with, and partly because in my 30s, I just didn't have the financial mindset. But in the Netherlands, that changed. I learned how to budget, save, and even invest. Dutch culture really values being frugal and planning for the future. I remember one moment that really opened my eyes. Back when I was still in Spain, one of my closest friends, who happened to be Dutch, told me she was saving 30% of her money since childhood, even from her pocket money as a little kid, because that's how she was taught. That was mind blowing to me at that time. Fast forward to today, and that shift completely changed my future. It even set me on the FIRE path, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. I never thought I would be the type of guy with spreadsheets for savings and investment goals, but here we are. Niksen is the Dutch concept of doing nothing, just sitting and letting your mind wander. I've always been a daydreamer, so when I first heard about this word, I thought, wow, there is actually a name, a framework for something I naturally do. Before, I often felt guilty if I wasn't being productive, like I was wasting time or something. But here in the Netherlands, I've embraced it. Now I love sitting by a canal, watching the water, and just existing. Sometimes it's an hour in the middle of the day, sometimes it's a whole Sunday where I don't plan anything. And honestly, it's one of the best ways I've found to recharge my batteries. It's not laziness, it's actually a skill, a very Dutch life skill. So, those are the 5 Dutch habits I've developed: being more rational, eating only one warm meal a day, expecting directness, saving and investing, and practicing niksen. Some of these might be age, some might be the Netherlands, but either way, I've become a different version of myself, and I kind of like it. Which of these habits do you relate to or find interesting? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about life in the Netherlands and my travel adventures around the world. Thank you.